Well, thank you all for coming, and for the folks who are joining online, thank you very much for attending online. I believe we're now going to start. And if you want to use interpretation, it's available on Zoom. All right, so let's move on, and we'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a flag. Oh, I have to call to order. Order.
No.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, by liberty and justice for all.
Hey, let's do the roll call.
Brian Leubitz,
Here.
Scott Farmer,
Here.
Drew McCalley,
Here.
Jill Lippett,
Here.
Caroline Madden.
Here.
Beth Brazone,
Here.
Marty Campbell,
Here.
Ginny Nichols,
Here.
and Abby is absent, but in the listening.
So I believe we need to make a statement for Ginny.
Correct.
Ginny, do you want to go ahead and can you do that?
Sure. I'm attending remotely and no one is in the room who is over 18.
And you have a caregiving need? What is your?
Yes.
Or
Yes, I have a caregiving member of my family.
Do we need to vote?
no,
Okay.
that's only for the emergency circumstances.
All right. Okay. So we will move on. So we now have the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to just say that it'd be nice to have more granularity in the minutes so that we can see who's asking questions and have the gist of what the question was
Okay,
going forward.
that's when we get to the consent agenda, the minutes.
So in a minute.
Oh, excuse me.
For the agenda.
Agenda,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Do we have?
But I know what you
I'm
mean.
okay.
Does anyone want to move to approve the agenda?
I so move. I second.
Okay, I think we need to do a roll call vote.
Yes. Brian,
Yes.
Scott,
Aye.
Drew,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
and Ginny.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so so now we're going to do the consent agenda,
And I have your note.
and
Thanks.
so we have discussion. So if anybody wants any other discussion about our consent agenda consists of our minutes, which are available on this attachment to the packet. Does anybody have any questions about the minutes?
What I stated before.
Okay, Emily, want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
Second.
So Scott and Marty. And then we need to do another roll call.
Brian,
Yes.
Scott,
Aye.
Drew,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Ginny.
Yes.
All right, are there any statements of conflict of interest? Seeing none, I will move on. To the chair report. So we did have an ad hoc for recruitment of members, and then also community engagement with Caroline, Scott, myself, and Beth earlier this week, which I think was a very productive conversation. So we are planning on doing a program at our next meeting in November about sort of how to increase community engagement. So we'll have a more detailed discussion on that. And we will let everybody know so we can all have ideas about how we can both increase attendance virtually and in person. And also sort of what we can do to sort of make the MAC the most useful it can be. And then we also discussed some bylaws changes in terms of term limits, which we will be presenting at the next meeting for vote. So there's going to slightly change the bylaws changes we did in the August joint meeting. So that will be proposed at our November meeting. And then, yeah, so if you have any ideas about recruitment or about term limits, please let me know.
Well, can you legally tell us what you guys talked about outside this meeting?
Yeah,
You can give
It
an
wasn't
update.
closed session.
Yeah.
it was ad hoc.
No, it's ad hoc. So, yeah, so we were, so in our previous incarnations, last 2 years ago, Scott?
You talking about bylaws?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, we had voted on just removing term limits. And
Well, we've now dealt with the bylaws 4 times. The initial, a update, generally in, I think, 22, and then we did an update to remove limits. And then the one last month. But we're currently in force with the second version. The last 2 are not in
Haven't been-
force.
Correct.
have
Neither
not
one
gone
of
to the
those
board,
have gone
so-
through final
So
approval.
currently there are term limits.
Currently, there are term limits,
Okay.
and it was 1 year ago. It was August
2022.
2022,
July.
that
July,
the,
sorry, July.
that the MAC
Voted to remove it,
voted to remove
but those
them,
didn't go through.
but
the
they
board of
never went through to
supervisors.
the Board of Supervisors, right?
So we will be forwarding to the rest of the MAC the sort of suggestions we come up with. And we have a couple options that we've sort of discussed.
Can you put it out there?
Sure. Well, I mean, so
I think you can give the report, but because that's not a discussion item,
I
the
can't
whole,
discuss. Okay.
yeah, unfortunately,
so
but you
the-
can give the report
Right.
and then individual members can get back to you.
Right, so the one idea was to just change remove the term limits entirely. And then the other option will be to have a sort of more nuanced restriction on if you can do more than 2 terms by whether there's other people running, or we haven't totally ironed out that.
Or if you're an alternate versus
Right.
a voting representative, how does that factor in?
So we're gonna present one more complete idea of what the term limits are, and then one is just gonna be no term limit. So, but we will present that to everybody within the next sort of month or so that everybody has that idea.
And how do we do that? Yet make sure the public,
So,
if they want to put their name in the hat and run, how do we do that so that they don't feel like there's an encumbrance to doing
so
stuff?
the other thing I will add to my report is that, Bodega Bay has, one regular member and an alternate. There are spots that are open. And I know, there's been one applicant, which is to renew is Ginny. And then, but we do have an open spot for our alternate. So if anybody knows anybody who'd be interested in that, please let me know. And I know there's other regions that have open spots as well, I believe. So those are, I think the deadline was a few days ago.
15. That's right.
But if you still are interested, please let myself or Debbie know. Does anybody else have any chair report, member reports?
But I'll just say, by now, most people will know about the project that's in the very preliminary stages. Power storage system up near Fort Ross. I'll just say that that's out there. If somebody's not aware of it, then ask. There's a lot of information.
Are you, how do you follow up to make sure, I mean, to understand like where it is in the process with the feds? Like,
they were,
Yeah.
maybe you know, but they were receiving,
They've only received it and they've received comments, but like,
Yeah.
how, I mean, I was just wondering, like, how do you follow it to know what their decision is? I haven't figured that out. Have you figured that out?
I don't think they've made a decision. I think.
I think it's like years and years away from any, because they,
Oh, it's not like,
this is.
I think this is. I think
it's
this
as
is-
preliminary as it can
It's a
be.
permit to start the preliminary investigation of
Yeah.
this as a project. So it's not like the project is being.
I understand that, but then how do you follow? How do you follow where they are in the process? Are they going to grant this preliminary? I don't know how to do it.
There's a lot of organizations, including the Board of Supervisors and a lot of environmental organizations that have intervened, and they want to be notified of everything that pertains to this particular permit application. So I'm sure that when something happens, the community interveners, including the Board of Supervisors, will get notification and it will go out.
It's
It
in the Federal Register as well. So if you want to.
I have to follow it through. the
Oh, you
federal
don't,
Okay,
but if you want to, but you can also, any organization can request like alerts. for it
okay, that's
In the Federal Register.
Can a person? I think you have to have intervened to get
Yeah.
that.
Well, I
notice.
think you also can just sign up for alerts. Just
Can
like-
you?
Like
Okay.
email alerts.
So you go to
I don't
Yes.
know.
And also, you can call them and ask them to send you information, and you can ask questions. And another possibility is we could consider some form
Oh,
of
yeah.
a study group who want to really get our arms around every aspect of it. Perhaps we could
That is,
band together and form a study group to keep ourselves and our community up to date.
that is an excellent idea. So that would be to form an ad hoc if folks want to, if anybody wants to do an ad hoc from the MAC to study this, or if we want to just sort of agree that, I guess, the Fort Ross delegate.
I just want to keep up to date, so I'll figure out how to like at least keep people informed because I think it's important.
Right.
very good question. Thank you.
Okay, could I also add that it's not clear in the bylaws, the alternate term limits. One could interpret it that it's 2 years equal as the rep,
Right.
but it's not clear, and that's something we hope to clarify.
Yes. All right. Um,
And the interpreter just has some feedback to remember that going
Cross
back
off
and
is
forth,
hard.
that it's difficult for them.
Sorry. Okay. Is there any other chair reports or member reports? Sorry.
I have a little one. So on October 7th from 5 to 8 p.m., the Bodega Volunteer Fire Department is holding a polenta and stew feed. It is outstanding. It's $20 donation for the meal, and it's a huge amount of food and it's a lot of fun. Please attend.
What was the date again?
October 7th, 5 to 8 p.m. It's at the hall in Bodega, and you can't miss it.
Casino.
Next to the casino.
Polenta and what?
Polenta and stew.
Stew.
It's
Okay.
outstanding. And it'll get you through 4 or 5 days. Bring it to go.
And another thing is that there will be a Bodega Bay Town Hall on October 4th at the Grange.
5:30. Yep.
At the Grange. We're still finalizing time, but 5:30
5:30.
is tentative time right now. So that will discuss some of the fishing issues and some other community specifics to Bodega Bay. Supervisor's office.
I have a question.
Sure.
At what point in the construction will the Grange be at that?
That is a good question, but there is a wedding scheduled there on October 1st.
Oh, good.
So it will be after that. So hopefully
It'll be clean.
it'll work out. Hopefully there'll be a functioning bathroom.
Yeah.
What time did you say the town hall was?
5:30.
That's October 4th.
Yes.
Yes.
hopefully it'll be functioning well. All right, any other member reports? Okay, so let's move on to our program. So let's start with the Coastal Commission Art and Poetry Contest.
Yes, Lauren, hello.
Yeah, hi everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, yeah, so hi, I'm Lauren and I'm the Education Program Associate with the California Coastal Commission. And thank you for inviting me to talk a little bit about our art and poetry contest that is open to all K through 12 students in California. And so the contest deadline is January 31st, 2024 at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And there's an online form for students to submit their entries. And so 5 art winners and 5 poetry winners will be selected along with honorable mentions. And contest results will be announced by April of next year. And so we have some really awesome prizes for the winners. So each art winner will receive a $100 gift certificate to Blick Art Materials. And then each poetry winner will receive a $100 gift card to a bookstore of their choice. And every winner will also receive 4 tickets to Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach. Along with that, each winning student's teacher will also receive a $50 gift certificate to Acorn Naturalist. And then along with really great prizes, we also honor the winners and honorable mentions by organizing a traveling exhibit for the remainder of the year. And so different visitor centers throughout the state will display the art and poetry for a few months at a time. And so currently the art and poetry from last year's winners and honorable mentions are on display at the Peter and Mary Muth Interpretive Center in Newport Beach. And then it will travel to the Bear Valley Center at Point Reyes in Marin County. And the exhibit will be there from November through December. So if anyone's interested in seeing some past art and poetry, it'll be there towards the end of the year. And yeah, so this is actually my first year being the main person organizing this contest. And I would just say it's been really inspiring to receive art and poetry from students of all different ages and really seeing how they interpret their experiences with the ocean and the coast. And so you can see the galleries. Oh, sorry, I will slow down. Yes, so if I need to repeat anything, feel free to let me know. But yeah, you can see the galleries of past winners and honorable mentions on the California Coastal Commission website. And so if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Our email is on our webpage. And if you're able to spread the word about the contest, that would be greatly appreciated. And we're really excited to receive the entries for this year's contest. And lastly, the contest webpage and the online entry form can also be viewed in Spanish as well. So yeah, and yeah, again, if I need to repeat anything, just let me know.
Does anybody have any questions?
From the map.
Okay, please go.
Do you have any examples of the art from the past that you could display on the screen?
I don't have any physical copies, but I can drop a link in the chat where you can view galleries of past art and poetry. That is all online. Does that work? Okay, cool.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much, Lauren.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'll just mention that at the registration table by the sign-in sheet, there are flyers about this if you want more information.
Great. All right, moving on. We have some folks from the Sonoma County Library.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm gonna set up. Okay. So, hello, everyone. I'm Erika Thibault, and I'm the library director of the Sonoma.
If you could please come stand by this table, that's just sort of, that's our, that way we will be able to get you heard on the microphone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, I'm the library director, Erika Thibault, and I'm here with my colleague, Barbara Louise. She's our public services division manager. And we're here to talk about the BiblioBus. Before we get into that, though, I kind of want to share a little bit about, about the programs and services that we provide. In 2019, the library engaged in the strategic planning process, and the result was what we call our reimagining plan. And a key component of that plan is expanding access to our programs and services and collections. So last year, we also completed our facilities master plan, and we evaluated all of our buildings, and we highlighted some areas where we know that access is one of the core components of our reimagining plan, and we're looking at places in the county where there are remote or underserved, and looking at ways that we can increase access to the library in those areas. And the BiblioBus is one of those means. We're also looking at other alternatives. At some of our branches, if you've been to the Geyserville Library, we have a BiblioBox, which is a book locker that is 24/7. So if if you're in Geyserville, you can place a hold and they'll put it in the book locker and you can pick it up day or night. We're also looking at pilot projects for a vending kiosk. It's kind of like a vending machine for books. And Bodega Bay is actually one of the places that we have been thinking about as a possible location. We have some technological issues that we have to work out in order to make that happen. But until then, we have the BiblioBus, which is, we acquired it last year, and and as the pandemic ended and we started the endemic response, we've been really rolling out this service to many communities, including recently Cazadero, Monte Rio, Bodega Bay, and then we will be also going to Geyserville. So I'm going to turn it over to Barbara, who's going to talk specifically about the BiblioBus. But thank you all for having us, and we're really happy to be here.
Hello, thank you all for having us here. Good evening. For me, it was very nice it's always very nice to drive out here to refreshing. So very happy to be here. We're here to talk today about the BiblioBus. It is coming now to Bodega Bay 2 times a month. As you walked in on the signage out here, because this is where the BiblioBus comes in front of the school, it'll tell you the dates that it comes here. So on the last slide, I'll go over that with you as well. I'm very excited to have our director here with us as well. She is very busy all over the place, so I was so happy that she could come with today. So our BiblioBus has expanded service this past year, but prior to that, we were just going to events. So on our website, you could go on and you could request the BiblioBus to come to an event, and we would bring our mobile library and we would bring crafts or things to do. We have a spinning wheel. And this past year, we decided to do a schedule of community stops. So they're everywhere throughout the county, but we have expanded specifically to places that aren't directly in a radius of a library. So as Erika said, Bodega Bay, Cazadero, Geyserville, Agua Caliente, and we are still looking for different places to expand to. So we thought this would be the perfect place to come talk to you all, since you're representatives of all different areas around here. So Bodega Bay is just the first out here. It is not the only or the last. And we are very open to suggestions of places that you think would be great for the BiblioBus to start going as well around this area. The BiblioBus holds 600 items, books, and some DVDs in Spanish and English. Our BiblioBus driver, her name is Brianna. She is bilingual in Spanish. She goes with the bus everywhere she goes. So she is able to use her wonderful Spanish speaking abilities everywhere in the county, and she does a lot. We go to schools, low-income housing, remote communities, and senior centers as well, and apartments. So we go all over the place, all over the county, and there are 26 community stops that we have right now. Our schedule is every 6 months, so we're always reevaluating and adding places, and we're not stagnant. So that's why I say, if you all know a great location that you want us to go to once a month, please do let us know. In addition to community events, we go to, or in addition to community stops, we go to community events. We were here in August at the back to school night, or we were invited. So if you have events going on in any of your surrounding areas that you would like us to bring a librarian, crafts, story time, anything like that, along with our mobile bus, please let us know. I'll start talking more slowly. I just read that. Although our BiblioBus librarian, Brianna, is not here today, she is here twice a month when she comes with the bus, and she wanted me to convey a few things to all of you about the stop that she's been having here in Bodega Bay.
Can you slow down a little
Slow
bit
down
for the
more.
interpreter? Thank
Yes.
you.
Your stop has been growing in popularity since Brianna started coming to you guys in August. She said that more and more people join every time she comes, and that's not the case with all of our stops, and she can tell the people in this community are learning about it and coming and are excited to have the library come to them. She said that families are happy to check out new books and return their previous checkouts. We also have recently put a black and white laser printer on the BiblioBus, which means that people can send files to our BiblioBus librarian and she can print things at the community stop. 33 pages, free printing a day, not for each person, but what she can do. And that is something that we offer at our libraries. If you're in a building, you can get up to 5 pages or $5 worth of free prints a day. So she's doing that on a smaller scale with the bus, with people that might need free printing when she's there. She tries to have a variety of titles and information on the BiblioBus. But if anyone is looking for how to use an e-resource or any suggestions of books that they would like to see on the bus, she's more than happy to bring those types of materials or give her card out for people to contact her. One of my favorite things that Brianna has told me since she's been here, at her first stop here at Bodega Bay, she had a family come and they specifically came before swim practice because they wanted to come to a library where they live. And they usually go to Petaluma or Rohnert Park, and they were more than excited to come to a library in their town. So those are the types of stories that really hit us and make us want to come more and go out to these areas where people need the services. So this is our first, we do our regular scheduled community stops. We're available by request for events. You can sign up for a library card as well when you come visit us. You can learn how to check out ebooks and e-audiobooks. She is great at teaching people on their phones how to do that. You can also check out a state parks pass. We have those on the bus. And she can show you how to get free museum passes with your library card as well. And if requested, she can bring STEAM activities or story time to specific events. On our website, sonomalibrary.org/BiblioBus, we have up-to-date community stop schedules, the events that we're going to, a form of how you request the BiblioBus, a service map, and then an FAQ. If you want us to come to an event, the FAQ has information about the size of the bus and our parking requirements. So it's all on there. And this is our flyer. That's Brianna here at the school at Bodega Bay. And I can't seem to get it's not there on my screen on the side where it's blocking the second Tuesday part, but we're here the second Tuesday and fourth Fridays of every month. Yep, there we go. And the signage is just right outside. I believe it's at 2:30. And that's what we're offering with the BiblioBus and what we want to continue to offer. And if you have, any suggestions, we are very open to it.
So you can return any book. So if I check out a book in Petaluma, I can return it to the BiblioBus. Oh, that's great.
Yes.
How about holds? Can you get a hold?
Not yet, but okay, so we're in the first 6 months, our first set scheduled community stops. And we have talked about doing holds in the future, hopefully near future, for say Bodega Bay, Cazadero, Geyserville, some of the locations that are not in the direct vicinity of a library. So that is on our radar and something we do want to do, but we're not quite there yet.
I have a list.
Prepared.
So, well, after talking, so it's twice a month, basically.
Right now, yes.
Okay. Do you, schedule runs weekdays and weekends, especially for events?
For the events, they're mainly on the weekends, but we do events all week. For the community stops, they're mainly during the week.
Okay.
But scheduled,
Yes.
okay.
And normally we go once a month to a stop, but if a stop requests twice a month and is, you know, like kind of further out from other libraries, we will make accommodations and make sure we're doing that.
So does the BiblioBus have onboard internet access?
Yes.
Starlink on the roof?
Yes. What's it called?
It's Wi-Fi, but we also have the opportunity, we have something called, we call them megaphys, but they're basically these huge Wi-Fi hotspots that enable up to 80 people, I believe, to connect at a time. And so if you want one of those, I think you just request it when you request the BiblioBus. And so, people can come and hang out around the bus and have Wi-Fi.
Is that a Sonoma Phi that you're talking about?
Yes.
So you need cellular for that.
Oh, we don't have.
So,
Too bad.
so that's why I said Starlink has a mobile unit to put on the top of the bus.
Yeah.
And it just looks at the sky and works pretty well. So you might consider.
Okay.
Well, we're also working with Supervisor Hopkins' office on some broadband initiatives.
Yeah.
And, and there's actually a lot of federal funding for that. So we're trying to figure out, how we can improve that in West County specifically, but we're not quite there yet.
Well, that's long range, middle mile or last mile, all that. But if you want to have your bus have streaming capabilities right now, for not much money, you could put a Starlink on there. They're designed for mobile homes.
Okay.
I just made a note of it and I'll talk to our IT manager
So,
about it.
Keeping going. So you've got basically us that live up on the North Coast. Notice that once again, we're not in the plan. And so there is a contract with Mendocino County that sends a bus down every 2 weeks. They stop in Sea Ranch and a couple miles south of Sea Ranch.
Stores Point.
And that for half hour.
Mhm.
And they do bring poles. So the problem with that is some of the other relationships with Mendocino County have collapsed, like hazmat events. So it can be fragile.
Start to hear.
Speak up.
My
Interpreters having trouble hearing.
hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And don't stop the collaboration with Mendocino County.
We will not.
Because for us on the far north, the bookmobile is fabulous.
Yes, we will not. That's not in the plans. We partner with them in order
yeah,
for various things, but that is a part of our partnership.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that. But for the people between Sea Ranch and Jenner, which is, for me, it's a 2-hour round trip to go to the library. And I know the Sonoma Phi's, the Wi-Fi very well. Maybe, can you or do you mail books using the library rate?
We haven't explored that recently. I know that when I actually went to library school at San Jose, but I was living in Los Angeles, and that's how I got my books. That's something that we can certainly look at. But I think for us, those book lockers or kiosks are probably a better solution. The main thing is that we have to have an internet connection in order to, because they connect to our library catalog. There are libraries, there's one in Texas that's actually partnering with a grocery store to have a library kiosk there. And so, I don't know if that's something that, we could talk about in the future, if there's any place in town where we could, have the internet connection to be able to provide that.
So, yeah, Fort Ross School has, but you'd have to drive there, bring the books. My point, I used to be a postmaster, so I'm familiar with the blind. They can order books on tape, and they order this many, And it come to them addressed, they listen to it, they flip the label, pop it in the mail, and away it would go. And similarly, libraries can do that. And for a place like Timber Cove, which is not anywhere near what you've described as needing to do that with a locker or something, the mail. And rates are cheap for a reason for libraries.
If you also have suggestions of BiblioBus coming up to those locations, if there's a space, if you think that there would be people that would want to visit it, we are open to suggestions of coming.
We can put it out in the community and see what kind of feedback we get. I know some of our people do go up to the Sea Ranch area. Not a lot, but those that do like it very much. So we would have to talk amongst ourselves before burdening you with that.
Yes, well, no burden at all.
And we are, so next fiscal year, we're hoping to buy another BiblioBus so that we will have multiple, so that we can, we know there's probably more demand than we have capacity for. So hoping to, get another bus and have another team of people to do that work.
Demand is good.
Yes. Jenner was on our list for the next one to look into. Duncan Mills was kind of, we were looking at that area, but if you have suggestions over there, yes, please. I believe Debbie has my email for sure and some other people on here as well, but I can also put my information in the chat or ask Debbie too. If that's something that you'd like to contact me about.
Yes.
Scott, are you done?
Yes.
I have several questions, but I'd like to let other people go first so that there's no redundancy. So when you go to a location like Bodega Bay, do you track who is coming in from other little villages and towns? Like we have Bodega, we have Valley Ford, or even technically the like Kermit and Serena Del Mar or Bodega Bay. I mean, do you get that information?
We don't ask for it specifically. If somebody tells us, that's great. If they sign up for a library card, we'll know their location and they'll put, they have the option of saying like what their library is. And a lot of people that are visiting us want it specifically to be the BiblioBus and not another library location because that's what they see as their library. So we would be able to see for people who have signed up for library cards, where they are coming from.
I would be curious to see how many people, if any, are coming, say, from Bodega and Valley Ford, because I would think if not, and you're getting a good response here, that might be another area to explore. There are several, I'm just thinking of the families and older people just in Bodega that don't drive and they could walk to the BiblioBus. So this project is very meaningful to me. Books transformed my childhood. And many of us come from a family of origin where you didn't just go buy whatever book you wanted. You had to go to the library, all right? So this is a very big deal. And thank you both for the work you're doing. What is the difference between BiblioBus and the bookmobile?
The main difference is our bus is not as big as a bookmobile is. It doesn't carry as much. It doesn't function in the same way. We are like a half outreach vehicle, like going out to events, and we have a big screen, and we also have the setup for doing programs with computers, like we have where you can sit. So we have set up for like programming and collections. So bookmobiles are typically just it's a real library on wheels. You walk in and it's all shelves and the books, versus we are a smaller collection than a bookmobile would be. I'm slowing down. And we can also provide programming along with it.
Thank you very much for that answer. I like that. My last question is, do you get minors that are unaccompanied that come to the BiblioBus, or do they normally come with their parents?
For this stop, it's all been families coming.
Okay. And if you were to be in this position, I'm assuming you have a wide variety of material for all age groups. How is it set up so that you don't have an 8-year-old reading a section that's for adults only?
So the sections aren't huge and they are separated out. And when a parent gets a card for a library or a library card for their child, they do sign a parental signature portion that says that their child has access to the library and materials, and it's basically the parent's, position to determine what the child reads.
Okay, so the parent then acknowledges if they're not with that child.
That the children will be able to check things out.
Okay, great, thank you.
And
Yes.
also, most of the material on the BiblioBus is the popular material. So it's it's the most popular. We do have a software product that we use to help determine what demand is for certain authors, certain titles, certain genres. And we can apply that to the BiblioBus, circulation. So we can see what people are requesting, what they're checking out, and we can either bring more of those, but we're also willing, if you love mysteries and you have a certain author that you love, we're always willing to take suggestions and recommendations, and we will do our best to have those materials for you.
Brianna's great at that.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I just want to tag on to something that Scott said, the mailing the books. When I was a child, there was a special program, I actually grew up in San Jose, and there was a special program where what they called, and it's on one hand or unflattering terms, but shut-ins and the elderly. They could send a letter to the local library with a list of books, and then the library would mail them a book, and as soon as that they mailed it back. Now, I'm sure it would be done very, very different today, but I think it's an excellent idea. Excellent option.
No, it's not different. San Francisco does that
With
for the elderly.
Oh, they do, but like
Yeah.
just mailing it,
Yeah.
snail mailing it. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I worked for San Francisco Public Library. There's a little bit of if you are doing books by mail, you have to meet criteria. You have to send a letter, and you also basically cannot go into a branch and get materials. It's only by mail at that point. So it is a little restrictive in different ways, but
that was the
Yeah.
essence back then. You wouldn't,
Yes.
the whole point was you couldn't get to a library. So thank you for that.
thank you for the
information.
feedback. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
So that's a restriction, that's only in San Francisco where they have that rule, right?
I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
haven't worked at a lot of libraries that do the books by mail, but
But where it's very remote and it doesn't make sense to drive a bus, hour and a half round trip up for one stop. The mail is an alternative. It gets delivered every day. I have one last question. I guess the titles flow. Is there anywhere that indicates what titles are on the bus?
I don't know if we have it in our catalog, what's on the bus right now, but that could be something that we look into if that's something that people would
So
want to
maybe
see.
we can look and see, gee, I want to check that out. And so, because they only have half hour.
We do hour to hour and a half, and then if there's not a great demand for it, she'll knock down to a half hour over time if there's really 5 people that are coming. But if you have a high demand and time after time when she's coming, there's an influx of people, we can increase it.
If one could plan on what they want to get and maybe pick up another one too.
That would be part of the holds portion that we
Yeah.
were looking into.
All right.
Well, I just want to add that I'm a big fan of the online services because it is far for us. And so I have a Kindle and I can just download all my stuff to my Kindle and not have to, not that I don't enjoy going to a library, but it is nice that I can just do it from my computer.
I love when people tell me that they buy books to listen to on their, on their stuff, and I'm like, get a library card. You can listen for free.
So we're also willing to come in, we're always willing to come out and talk to the community. I have been doing some, since I became the director in February, a lot more outreach. So I'm always willing to come out and talk to any group. If you have, community groups, Rotary clubs, Granges, just to let people know about all the things that we provide. People are always shocked to find out how many programs and resources that we have, including, as Barbara mentioned, parks passes, all of our audio and e-audio and ebooks. People don't really know we're much more than books, and we provide a lot of different resources in the 21st century.
I think I saw a hand.
And if you could come up, if you have comments so that our interpreter can hear you and our microphone can hear you, just, thank you.
You can also get those museum passes online. You don't need to go to the library for them. It's called Discover and Go.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, as long as you're within 8 feet of that thing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
So in Jenner, we did have, the bookmobile came and it was quite popular. Came right down to where the Jenner, a store is. And so we had a great, accompaniment of people and a lot of, variation in the materials that they had. It was great. I forget how many years we had done, or it was done, through the Sonoma County Library. So I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in that area. I mean, this was especially on the weekends. That was really good. So.
And I know that we're also recruiting for extra help. Are we still
We
doing?
finished that, Jenner is on our list of
Okay.
places. We were gonna look into that the next time. So that's why we also come here to get your suggestions of places that you know in these areas.
Okay.
That would be great, that you would be able to tell other people about and send the word out that it is happening in your area.
Okay.
So, suggestions are always
Yeah.
welcome, and that was an area. that
Yeah,
we
because
were
we have
doing.
little communities around like Bridgehaven and, up the river and out at, Willow Creek and all that. So
Okay.
that would be good.
And just so you all know, we are also fine
Thank
free. So there's no more fines on our library material. So if you can't turn your items in, at one stop, we're not gonna charge you fines anymore. So.
Is Dillon Beach on your list?
That's in
Marin,
That's Marin.
yeah, Marin County.
Although it's really nice there.
Yeah, I know.
We can go to Valley Ford. You're right down the road.
Yeah.
Valley.
All right, any more questions? I want to say this has been very informative and very helpful. So thank you so much for both of you for coming. I really appreciate it. And I know the community really appreciates the BiblioBus here at the school. All right, is there anyone online? Sorry, I forgot, but
Any questions online?
If you have a question and you're joining us online, please raise your hand to be unmuted. I'm not seeing any hands.
This packet and the community stop list is in, the information on the slides and the community stop list are in the packets, that Debbie put together.
And there's also handouts with the community, with the stops.
And those are also available online. You can click and that exact sheet pops up and you can print it out or share it with somebody. And I would really encourage, if you know people that are interested in coming to BiblioBus, that you spread the word about the Bodega Bay. And when we come to your area, you're spreading the word there because we really want to be able to service your areas.
Thank you
so much for having us.
Thank you for coming.
right. So moving on, the update from Supervisor Hopkins'
Yeah.
office.
I have a couple of things to share. You all have received the notice about the coastal zone vacation rental ordinance on the Board of Supervisors agenda next week. Nothing has changed since it was introduced in August 2022. And basically, what this is going to do is require vacation rentals in the coastal zone to obtain a license and comply with the adopted vacation rental license ordinance that's already gone into place for the non-coastal areas. So that is coming up next week. And then also, I have an update here from County Parks with a number of things. We have an update about the Chancellor Ranch acquisition. The Agricultural Preservation and Open Space District is on track to acquire Chancellor Ranch this fall. Following acquisition, regional parks will operate Chancellor Ranch, generally consistent with existing practice, including day use of the existing trail system and equestrian concession. And within a year, the property will transfer to Sonoma County Regional Parks During the transition period, regional parks will be assessing a timeline for community engagement, master planning, and other future activities. Carrington Coast Ranch Regional Park and Open Space Preserve. Regional parks will present master plan alternatives for public feedback this fall. Regional Parks' goal is to present a preferred alternative master plan and begin the environmental review subject to the California Environmental Quality Act before spring 2024. Regional Parks continues to provide park preview days and occasional programs available by reservation on the Regional Parks website. Existing parking is limited, which requires the reservation. And Regional Parks Natural Resource Team, Maintenance and Youth Crew are treating stands of Monterey cypress for ecological health and fuel load issues. There will be pile burning later in the season, and the work is being paid for by Parks for All Measure M and a grant from the Kaiser Foundation. And then answering some questions that we had for them. Will there be a potential trail across Highway 1 into Sonoma Coast State Park to connect with the Coastal Prairie Trail? And the answer is Regional Parks will evaluate the possibility of a trail connection in the future. Traffic studies for the crossing of State Route 1 and biological and other studies will be necessary to address safety, inform the design, and address ecological impacts. The biggest challenge is anticipated will be securing an encroachment permit from Caltrans. And then what will the parking in the future at Carrington be once the park is open? The conservation easement held by the Agricultural Preservation Open Space District limits the parking to a modest sized parking area on the north side of the property, while the south side can be used for shuttle drop off and accessible parking only. The master plan alternatives will include details on proposed parking, as well as possible pedestrian, bicycle, transit, and other travel modes for reaching the preserve.
All right. Well, Marty, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. With regard to the vacation rental, do we know yet when vacation rental and the LCP will be scheduled with the Coastal Commission?
So in this does need to go to the Coastal
Yes,
Commission,
and
right?
I
And I
gather-
don't know about
I
this.
gather from what I've been reading, it's gonna go to the Coastal Commission at the same time as the LCP.
Right. But I don't know when, but I can find that out for you.
Oh, good, that would be
Yeah.
really great, because people are asking me.
So I've been talking to Permit Sonoma, and they are finalizing the draft that public will receive, the cleaned up draft that will end up going to the Coastal Commission, and they're hoping any day now. That's what I was told not too long
Well,
ago.
but I gather that the Coastal Commission will then schedule that to be considered at one of their meetings.
Correct.
And so it could be a year.
Well, just,
And that, and, you know,
exactly.
You know, we don't-
evaluate it first, yeah.
yeah, and, you know, the staff has been working hand in glove with Permit Sonoma. I can't imagine the staff will be surprised.
Right.
And I've looked on the Coastal Commission website, and there isn't a clue about when this would be presented there.
There is nothing that indicates it exactly, but anecdotally, the Coastal Commission is meeting at Brayton Rancheria in the month of November.
Yes, I know that.
So I would assume it's a target, but we don't know that factually. Right?
I'll do some looking into it and get back to you when I
Yeah,
have.
and if they don't know yet, it's
Then-
fine.
Yeah,
to say,
but when they know.
but I don't want to be telling everybody, we don't know if somebody does.
Right.
Right.
So,
Is there anything else?
Nothing else?
I have a question regarding the
Sure.
parks.
Yes.
You know, Chancellor and Carrington coming online is gonna be a wonderful thing. I will tell you what I'm hearing from the community. I'm consistently hearing from the community a great concern about the lack of maintenance of our current parks, and that we have not recovered some of the maintenance that was shut down, or buildings that were shut down from 2008, yet we're onboarding more and more property. And this just needs to consistently get back to Supervisor Hopkins. It's a concern that the community has. What is the plan? Do you know what the plan is as a whole to make sure everything is adequately maintained and to keep the soil healthy? Very big deal to keep the soil healthy, to prevent more fire hazards and risks. So is there something going on for a whole for the maintenance, not just specific areas?
Well, I believe that there was some defunding from state parks, and at the town hall with Senator McGuire, some advancement was made. I think you were involved with some collaboration from state parks. And so I don't know, but are you finding that regional parks have had maintenance? Or are you thinking?
As a whole, the parks all have maintenance issues, is what I'm hearing.
It's issues, I know there's issues with Doran,
Mhm.
but not like maintenance per se. I think it's more questions of staffing and sort of the campsite stuff.
Would you like to have county parks here as a guest speaker?
I think that would be,
Yeah.
I think we
Have
should
a
have
number of-
all of the entities at a MAC meeting that would be, that are players in this. I think that could be its own meeting,
Mhm.
its own agenda. I think that our community wants to be able to engage and they want answers.
And
We
that
could
would
call it a
build,
town hall.
A town hall.
that would build engagement.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the sort of, you know.
At the last meeting,
Did
Did you want to say it, Jenny?
Ginny, go ahead.
oh, okay. I just recall from the last meeting that when Senator McGuire was present, that there was an agreement to make sort of like he was going to come or send folks from his office to look at some of the issues that were brought up at that meeting so that they, from state parks, would have eyes on what we see every day, right? They don't see and they're not aware of. So there was some effort, some level of commitment there to kind of get in the loop. But I haven't heard any follow-up from that last meeting to know if that's scheduled or not.
Okay, so Scott, go ahead.
So the status right now is that this Senator McGuire's scheduler has it to be scheduled. The legislature's term ended Friday.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so there was no expectation that our majority leader would come out in the last days of the term. So now we're in a new period, and I'm expecting hopefully that Senator McGuire, Linda Hopkins, Bill Maslach from State Parks, myself, a former ranger also, at least for the Timber Cove area, and I'm hoping that people from the Bodega Bay and southern areas will also be part of the tour. So that's on the list schedule.
This is something.
And is it
Go ahead, Jenny.
Is it anticipated to be next month, or is there no timeline associated with it?
We have to coordinate with like several different people. So if we know of it, when we know something happens, we will inform folks in the relevant areas.
Okay. So I think that ties into what was brought up, what Beth brought up, perhaps. But I don't think state parks and county parks ever coordinate, but maybe they should. I don't know.
So I think there's to address, I think there's two separate issues. I think one, I think it's probably easier to get somebody from regional parks because
Yeah.
Well, because,
Sure.
right, but also state parks we have Bill, who is responsible for a very large area, as I understand it.
Yes, that's right.
I think the state parks is a funding issue.
Yeah, exactly. So
And-
there's just not very many people.
Well, and resources to do what we are gonna ask them to do. That's why we're asking the state legislature to recognize the problems and help pay to fix them. I just want to say that regional parks does a good job. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, so I mean, to sort of to address what I said earlier, which is that Dorm Beach is, I think you can tell when you go from Dorm Beach to one of the state beaches, level of maintenance is dynamic. I know Debbie and I discussed sort of having a program with parks, so somewhat to be just for community engagement, but also because there are these big questions along the coast right here with Carrington and Chancellor. But I do think that I agree with Scott that the regional parks have been great, but I think that it would be a great idea to have a program about parks specifically. But I think they are very different questions, the state parks
Absolutely.
to the regional parks. All right, any other questions about the supervisory report? Okay, so public comment. Carolyn. Yes. That is.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Connors, and as a member of Bodega Bay School PTA, I want to welcome you all here tonight. I'm so glad you all found the school. Is this the first meeting you've had here?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. How many of you have been here before?
This is my first time here.
To this building.
I didn't even know Bodega Bay had an elementary school.
Me neither. Been here before. Me neither. Well, my first initiation with Bodega Bay PTA was in 1987 when my first son started kindergarten here. And I've been part of this wonderful organization for a long time. I'm also president of Waves of Compassion Foundation, which is a charitable nonprofit organization in Bodega Bay, as is Brian on our board. And so we have had a partnership with the school ever since our inception, and we support the classrooms with supplies and the after-school program, as well as the preschool. And we contribute to the after-school program nutrition program by supplying fruit every week for them. We've also partnered with, well, I've got two hats on now. So PTA and Waves of Compassion partnered with Bodega Harbor Homeowners Association to provide 2 weeks of free swimming lessons to all the children in Bodega Bay. And that program is in its 21st year. And it's something I'm really proud of to have been part of all this time. So, yeah, I just wanted you to know what a special place this is and to understand that this is really the hub of our community. They're like generations of families who have come through this school and on through Tamales High School. And some of you might not know this, but Bodega Bay School is part of Shoreline Unified School District, which extends from Bodega Bay all the way to Inverness. And the other 4 schools in the district are in Marin County. So we are actually administered through Marin County, which causes some complications at times with funding, but it's been a good connection all along. So yeah, I think that the school is really the glue that holds this community together. And you know, families get together for celebrations and holidays and that sort of thing through the school. And I've made a ton of friends through the school, so All I wanted to say, and thank you for coming and having your meeting here.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for all the work you did.
Yes, Carolyn,
Yes.
just to be clear, Carolyn is going to.
Yeah.
Any other public comments or anything on the Zoom?
If you'd like to make comment, please raise your hand to speak. I'm not seeing any hands.
This Saturday from 1 to 3 at the Sea Ranches Del Mar Hall, there's going to be a forum about wildfire risk and the insurance industry. And the public is invited to attend. And we have a panel, and I'm not going to remember everybody on the panel. The panelists are people who know about how the insurance industry evaluates risk in areas where there are wildfires. And they also know about various aspects of that. This is not a forum to beat up the insurance industry, and specific insurance companies are not among the panelists, but it's people who are explaining the thought process behind the insurance companies' evaluation protocols that are leading to the increase in insurance rates and insurance companies leaving our market.
Would you say again when it is?
It's Saturday, the 23rd from 1 to 3
This Saturday.
at this coming Saturday, day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
At the Del Mar Hall at Sea Ranch.
And Zoom.
And Zoom.
That-
Oh, yes.
Where can I
And
find
Zoom.
the Zoom link for that? Because it's too far for me to drive.
I'll
but I live far.
send it to you.
Marty, if you want to send it to me, I can send it to
I
everybody.
already sent it to you.
Oh, then I will
Yeah.
search it up and I will send it to you all. I'm
I
sorry.
sent it to you. I sent it to you, Tracy, and Lisa and Linda, trying to cover all the bases.
Yeah.
It would be,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
would be happy to promote it if I could get it tonight or tomorrow.
Well, Debbie,
I'll
I
send it
see
to you.
Debbie's computer there,
I will.
so she can
Okay.
send it to
Yeah,
everybody.
so that's available on Zoom, so we will.
Yeah.
It's only an hour and a half drive. Come on up.
Yeah, and I think it'll be recorded too, right?
Yes, and it's gonna be recorded too.
Yeah, I
And
know.
And where
when
will
I-
it be?
When I
available?
have the link, I'll send it to Debbie.
Okay.
I know, at least in Bodega Bay, that on our email list, we see many people saying, our insurance is being canceled, and
Totally, yeah.
so that is an important issue, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank you,
the
Scott.
other thing I wanted to bring up was, which we will also discuss next time, but, is agenda items. So if anybody has any agenda items from the public or from the MAC, programs they want to consider, so we have one, that we discussed, the regional parks. And then we also have this, sort of a discussion coming out of, our ad hoc. But, if you have any other programs for either for November or for any future meetings, please let myself or a member of, Supervisor Hopkins' staff know about any ideas, because we are, sort of always looking for problems that we can address. That will be helpful for the community. So,
I'd like to, I'm not sure when it's appropriate or where I
Right
should
now.
make this comment, but we all got a email from Supervisor Hopkins explaining that she nominated someone for the planning commission.
correct.
And I thought that maybe we could address that here. I know very little, I didn't have much of a chance to get on, up to date on this, but what I noticed was that, the person that she's nominated seems like a lovely person as a person, but doesn't have the kind of background that I think is necessary to be on the planning commission. You really, I mean, I've lived in this county since 1984. I've been very involved, but I don't consider myself anywhere close to being qualified to be on the planning commission, because there's a lot of issues that come through that have a lot of depth and a lot of special interests, particularly winery interests,
that we know for a fact that the wineries wanna move more on into the coastal region. I know we've protected it to a certain extent in the LCP, but just in terms of the effect of more wineries, more event centers in the rest of the county, that's all gonna come before the planning commission. I'm sure this person that she's nominated is lovely, but he's also a member of the wine community. He has a winery, and I'm not particularly comfortable with the idea that that's gonna be our fifth district kind of representative on the planning commission.
I believe I think she has more than one.
Well,
Well,
and,
Eric will
and so this
stay.
is the public comment period, so it
Yeah.
wasn't agenda, so we can't really have a
Right, response.
discussion
So we can
about
just-
it.
so that is
Thank
a-
you for your
Right.
comment, and I will bring that back
Yeah.
to
Okay.
Supervisor Hopkins.
Okay, any other public comment?
No,
Okay,
there was an update about that, wasn't there?
but we can
Can't
we can
discuss it.
engage.
Yeah.
So, all right, if there's no other public comment,
But I just want to encourage, no idea is bad for an agenda item. Go for it and bring it to any rep, bring it to District 5 staff or Linda. Bring your ideas and thoughts that we want things to percolate up. And the job of the MAC is to cobble this into something that we can really put our teeth into and make things happen, or at least understand issues.
and a reminder that if you're interested in serving on the MAC, please let somebody in the District 5 office know, and we'll get information about the application is technically closed, but I think we still have some vacancies that have the
Yes,
applications
and
for.
so as long as there's vacancies, it'll be a rolling application period.
So, okay, with that, I think that is everything on our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
This can't be true. It's only a 6:45.
I know, we have 12 minutes before 7
I feel like
o'clock.
I'm in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
So we have a motion.
So
Motion
Drew,
is second.
Drew was the first and
Drew was
Jill was
first.
the
I
second.
second or first, either one.
All right, so I think we need to roll call them.
We don't have to.
Oh,
vote
fantastic.
For that,
All right,
so
and
now
we
the
are now
chair can
adjourned.
adjourn. Yeah.
Wow,
Goodbye, goodbye, Ginny.
wow, we are early.